Aim high, shoot far, aim for the moon. If you miss, you'll hit a star. Hello, hello, and happy Valentine's Day, my Lupies. Welcome to Better Together, sharing our lupus stories. And today's story, it's Valentine's Day, and we are celebrating ourselves. I did that yesterday. I did that the day before. I kind of try to do that every day, but we're gonna do it especially well today. And we're also gonna dish a little tea. And I know I said dish some tea, but I actually meant sip some tea. So it's Valentine's Day, and we're going to talk about love, romance, and all the other luscious treats we adore, like holistic spa treatments, essential oils to calm our bodies and soothe our lupus souls, to our fabulous manes. I know I got braids today. I've been switching it up every week lately, but we're here and we are going to enjoy this. You should join us. This is your day. We just pretend to call it Valentine's Day, but it's all about you. And our medical host, Dr. Michaela, has started celebrating by sipping her tea early. Dr. Michaela, you here?
Hey,
Hey,
how are you, Chanel?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited. So I see we are both dressed in our Valentine's Day red. Got the
Mm-hmm.
lip, got the lips going.
Yeah.
And I know you're drinking some of the tea. We have some really great teas that we're going to be sampling today. But whose tea are you sampling?
So this is actually a lavender mint, and the mint is great. I'm getting this very calming, relaxing vibe. But this is a flavor from Soul Stir, which is a tea and wellness company in Virginia, and we're actually going to hear about this really unique blend from our guests tonight, Christina and Aaron Walden. So they are artisans of Soul Stir, and they're going to tell us all about their different blends. So I'm just really excited to hear more from them.
Yes. How do you like your tea? I'm actually drinking a different one, but I'm
So,
curious how.
usually I'm not a huge mint fan. I didn't steep it for too long, so I feel like I'm getting like just a touch of the peppermint, so that's nice. And I think lavender, I mean, you're going to be talking later about oils, but can be really calming.
I feel like we talk about teas and there's so much I wouldn't say noise, but so much conversation around like the stress relief that teas or these different herbs can bring. And do you feel like as a doctor, medical doctor, they always combat in Western and Eastern medicine, but how do you feel about the teas? Is there any truth to that?
It's such a good question, Chanel. I mean, we are learning more and more about all of these remedies that have been done for centuries. And, it takes a while to get studies that can really start to compare them and understand them. But we've known that people drink teas for thousands of centuries and for lots of good reasons. We really do have studies that show that a variety of teas may boost your immune system, may fight off inflammation, and for most people, that comes, without any side effects. So trying out a tea could be really helpful. For myself, I think a big part of it is the ritual as well. Just having something you come home to or you take some time for at the office, kind of sitting down, doing something for yourself, being present in the moment. We've both shared how we like to meditate. So, just drinking tea and having your moment can be a meditation source.
Oh, definitely. And I know people like to have their coffee at the top of the morning. Way, I do coffee on occasion, but I get the jitters. So I really do love tea for that reason. It's something about it just having something warm wakes me up as opposed to it being the chemical of caffeine. It's like, wow, I'm just drinking this warm thing. And
Mhm.
I think it helps. But even further than that, we're going to be talking a bit about some homeopathic and alternative remedies. Are there any, are there hesitancies? How does the medical community feel about that? I think that that's something that I know we've always had the battle. Are there medical pros and cons to using some of these remedies?
Yeah, we have to be really conscientious of if there are interactions with anything you may be taking or any risks for your current medical history. So, of course, we want you to run by anything you may be using with your medical professional, check and see if there are interactions. Maybe just even caffeine might not be a great idea for you if you're someone who has a thyroid problem. So, really kind of checking to make sure the ingredients are things you can tolerate, and then doing self tests, trying a small amount, seeing how you feel with it and tolerate it. Because as we talk about all the time, what works for one person may not be working for you or the best for you. So people have to try out what works for them.
Well, I am trying me some Sunday Stroll Green right now, just because they talk about green tea having a natural version of caffeine. So I just needed that. It was a long day, so we're here. But I think it's really important to just think about all of the things that are helpful to us that might exist outside of just medicine. I think that that's one of the things that some people, feel a way about, when we talk to doctors and tell them some of the traditional things that our families have done. I know my dad, fun fact, my dad used to like bring back these little, I don't know if I'm outing him right now, but he used to bring back these little bushes and things and leaves from, his backyard in Trinidad
Mm-hmm.
anytime he went down there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Corylli bush. I really remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like considered something that was really helpful and anti-inflammatory, kind of thing. So, I think a lot of us have, roots in
Mm-hmm.
roots in
Yeah.
nature.
I
In
don't think I
nature.
knew we shared Trinidadian roots, Chanel. My mom is from Trinidad. So
Hey,
that's a fun finding. But yeah, I've grown up hearing all about all of the different herbal teas that people have used traditionally. And sometimes Western medicine does take some of those things, and as we study them and learn more about them, kind of regulate them and put them into practice. So, although we think about these things as separate worlds, there is some overlap that happens. And as medicine evolves, we're trying to learn more about what people have done for centuries. It's just really hard to kind of, as you can imagine, and we talk about trials and how safe we want to make them, really figuring out a safe way to study and look at them.
Yeah, I think that was one of the conversations I had with another doctor. I had switched doctors at one point in time because I was like, "No, I want to be natural." And the running joke is, it's not a joke, but it's a running theme that I see when I talk to people that are newly diagnosed or maybe were diagnosed recently. We kind of all share this thing where we all get on this kick of like, I just want to do natural everything. And
Mm-hmm.
and we maybe cast aside some of the other things our doctors might have told us in hopes of healing ourselves. But what do you think is the process? If I want to try a new treatment, what should I maybe consider? Or maybe I want to, not necessarily a treatment, because we know that these things, once again, are not necessarily all proven in the same way that medications are. But if I want to try a new regimen, what would I do?
We've been talking so much about healthcare teams, and I think that it could be really important having your healthcare provider reach out and have a conversation with whoever it may be, a naturopath, an herbal medicine specialist, someone who is going to help you think through what is a part of your holistic care. We're going to talk about that more tonight, but I think it's, if you're not the person as acting as the middleman for having these conversations, that you encourage your providers to talk as well, because I wasn't trained in herbal medicine. I don't know everything about them. And speaking to a specialist in it or someone who knows more about it, I can understand more about how it may impact your care. Because let's be real, even if I say, don't take something, you may go still and try it. So it's better to just have everything out on the table and up front and have real conversations about what people are really using.
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think about any time if any doctors ever wanted to talk to, you know, those. I
We
feel
can
like y'all
challenge
have
them.
beef. Like you all be y'all have beef right now.
I don't personally. You should have a provider who's willing to talk about it. At least hear what you're taking, even if they're not endorsing using it, knowing what you're taking.
Oh no, definitely. And I think that that's the helpful thing. I try to say, always letting the doctor know, even if they're like, I don't agree, at least they have it in their chart. So if something goes wrong or something
Mhm.
doesn't go as well, they know what, you've
Mhm.
added is that's definitely a good advice for us all to consider as
Mhm.
we Google sometimes and figure things out. But as we're trying this, I feel like we have some great people on here that are going to help us talk about this.
Yeah, I'm excited for tonight. And because tonight we're talking, it's Valentine's Day. So, we're thinking about romance, that's on our minds. I always tell people, and as we talk about lupus, we're trying to think about how we approach lupus from a physical and a mental approach, and really, like, as we will talk about holistically. So, I really think that it's important to think about this as a process. Think about what your flares look like and what contributes to them. And as we all know, and this is really a fact, stress plays a huge role. So as we think tonight about what we can do to really gain some control in our physical being, our mental well-being, it's also being able to like key into some of those stress symptoms. So I actually have a list for you to think about, because they may not be things you think about off the bat or even recognize as stress symptoms. So you can let me know as I go through these, Chanel.
Oh yeah, come on, give me this list.
So sleeping difficulty definitely could be a big sign of stress. Brain fog, so that feeling of like feeling fuzzy, having difficulty concentrating, uh, just fatigue that we don't really have a good reason for. Maybe you're sleeping and well, but still feeling unrefreshed when you get up.
That's
Um,
me.
well, you were traveling, so we have a reason.
Oh no, but even in general, that's usually the first sign for me for a flare is I'm like
Really?
I got regular sleep, but for some reason I feel like I ran a marathon and did a triathlon back to back. Like it's a different level of fatigue where
Mm.
getting out of bed is a little bit harder. So I don't think everyone thinks about fatigue as part of stress, and we just think about it as symptoms for lupus, but
Hmm.
that stress also makes these things happen too. That's an
That's
interesting
huge. It's
point.
true. It's true. It's a really important one to think about. Of course, we want to think about some of the other more common reasons, like are you sleeping well? But when we've really ruled those out, fatigue could be a sign of stress. Chest pain, it happens all the time that I meet people who are having chest pain symptoms that are coming out of the blue, what seems like out of the blue, and it's really correlated with their stress levels when we really break it down and look and rule out everything else.
Mhm.
Stomach symptoms, so like heartburn, indigestion. Have you ever
Mm.
experienced that?
That's interesting. I think I think you mentioned chest pain. I'll
Mm-hmm.
get like when I'm really stressed out, I actually get palpitations
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and that's something that I've followed up with my cardiologist about.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I definitely have had, just yeah, the digestive system is not acting the way it's supposed to. So,
Mm-hmm.
once again, like no one's thinking of my stomach as part of the stress response or anything of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely know that how I eat changes. Is that part
Mm-hmm.
of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what you eat is in response to how you're feeling, right? So if you're, changing up your diet because you feel like you can't eat what you normally do, that may be a sign. Or sometimes people get more severe symptoms like constipation or diarrhea. So, outside of another cause like an infection or something else, if this is coming often with stress symptoms, that may be your body telling you you're really stressed out.
Hmm. Okay, I'll pay attention to that.
For a lot of women, even your menstrual cycle, if you're very stressed out and not sleeping well, can change or shift or come at a different time frame.
I know for me, definitely. Yeah, I'm giving y'all all the TMI, everybody. You get to learn all about Chanel's symptoms. Chanel's stressed out. No, but no, one of the things for me is I know that my cramps are gonna be really bad when I have a really stressful month. Like if I'm
Mm,
really stressed out, I know
mhm,
it's gonna like fight me. Like and that's something. I mean, I know we have, a few people coming on later in the broadcast. We have the tea artisans, Christina and Aaron, who have some teas, and they actually have a tea that kind of is supposed to be, supportive of women's health. But we also have the therapy chick, Sarita Polinaire, who's going to talk about stress and the side effects of stress and mental health and the role of nutrition. So I guess that
Mhm.
all factors into these symptoms that you're giving.
Mhm.
Um, but also, I feel like I know when I'm stressed out, sometimes I can't sleep. Is
Mm.
sleeping too much an issue as well?
That you can't sleep or you're sleeping too much?
Either or, like I feel like
Mm.
I know that when you can't sleep, but is there such thing as too much sleeping? Could that be a symptom as well?
Well, if you're sleeping so much and still not feeling rested, you're not getting restorative sleep, it may be a sign that you're not getting deep sleep, that you're so stressed, maybe you're waking up and you don't remember at night, or your body's just not relaxing to get into a deep REM sleep. So definitely, stress can impact that if you're feeling like, wow, I slept 10 hours and I'm still tired.
Mhm.
But then the other part, what you mentioned of just not being able to fall asleep and having insomnia, you could be so revved up and anxious that that's really stopping you from getting to sleep at all.
Oh yeah. So I'm a ruminator. My brain will keep going on everything that I need to do for
Yeah.
the rest of the week
Mhm.
at 1 a.m. for some reason. So I know that there are two things that I do that help me a little bit, help me stop or help me focus. One is
Mhm.
I do listen to like I have an app that does like kind of meditations that help you fall asleep.
Mm.
But I also like aromatherapy. I have some things that I take that I think have been helpful for me. I have some sense. I guess I can share this with you all. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if everyone knows what aromatherapy is,
Oh,
Chanel.
please can you school them? Let them know what aromatherapy is.
So it's as Chanel was mentioning, she's going to bring out some oils, but it's the use of essential oils, often from plants, so like flowers, herbs, or trees, that can really either be inhaled or sprayed or put lightly on your skin. That can actually have some real possible systemic benefits and health benefits. So people will say they get calming effects, or their mood improves, or they feel more rested, or they feel like more relaxed to be able to get better rest.
Yeah, and I know that I always get confused with the two of these. There's homeopathic and
Mhm,
holistic.
mhm.
Are they the same thing or are they different?
I think that they're different. It's kind of like a really small nuance, but holistic care is a combination of all different types of care. So Western medicine, like I practice, and acupuncture and herbal medicine and aromatherapy all fall under that. Where people who practice homeopathic medicine are really thinking about natural sources.
Mhm.
So, really focused on plants, any type of nettles or even onions or plants and, different flowers, how those things can be used as treatments, minerals, even animals like bee pollen and things like that can be used. So, it's really the focus on natural sources.
All right. Well, I'm going to share one of my natural sources. It's actually a friend of mine's
Hmm.
line. I know you can't necessarily see it because of the wonderful screen, but it's
Wow.
by Take Care Wellness. If you go to
Wow.
takecarewellness.co, it's a pillow spray. So I
Mm.
spray my pillow and it's essential oils. I know that some of the line she's gotten the oils from other places around the world, things of that nature. It's a Black woman owned business
So
and
cool.
I just put a couple sprays on my pillow and
So what are the oils that are mixed in there?
so this one, I am a lavender lover. Okay. I literally most of my essential oils have lavender in them. I think it's just a very calming scent.
Uh-huh.
Literally, you walk in my apartment, that's the first thing you're smelling. All of my candles have lavender in them. But this
Lavender
lavender
everywhere.
vanilla, it's like a
Mhm.
softer scent. Like it feels very soft. I've seen I've had a lavender sandalwood one that was really helpful. And that, lavenders, they say it, helps with stress. Sandalwood helps to calm nerves, to
Mm.
help with focus. So, that's usually the things that I'm kind of trying to do on a regular basis.
That's awesome.
And I also I'm going to give you all my oils. Is that all right?
Yes,
So
share it all.
yes, I have peppermint oil, which is my favorite tea in
Mhm.
general.
Mhm.
But the oil itself, I know that when I am struggling to stay awake, this helps me with a little bit of energy. I know that sometimes with indigestion and things of that nature,
Yes.
the peppermint does kind of settle my stomach at times. That's what I feel. And so yeah, I love me some peppermint oil. I'll put a couple drops in some water, or I'll just inhale it. But I know that there are different ways to engage with oils. uh, Dr. Michaela, can you please share with us what are the ways? Because people put it in here, they treat it like perfume. What
Yeah,
are
I mean, there's lots of different ways. And you mentioned that spraying it on things. Some people can infuse like heating pads or pillows with them. You can use diffusers. As you mentioned, spraying it right on. A lot of women put a lot of oils in their hair. So it can be applied topically. We should be careful about diffusers just to make sure, any kids in the house or anyone who has any respiratory problems doesn't inhale too much. But, really putting it directly on your skin can be a great way.
Got it. Okay. So, and I know I'm from New York, and definitely know, like, if you walk down 125th Street, there are a bunch of people that are selling incense and different oils. I know if you go down Fulton Street in Brooklyn, you might see somebody from West Indies selling some back home oil and some African musk or something else. But is it safe to just grab oil from these different places? I mean, it seems like something really harmless, and a lot of people are selling them too.
It's hard, if you have allergies or sensitive skin, you should be really careful about it. We don't regulate these, so you should go to sources that you trust, that are recommended, that other people have used, and they can really tell you that where their products are coming from, where they're sourced from, are they organic? Because you could also have different fragrances added in that aren't actually the natural sources, and I'm sure you can share about that too. So you want to make sure, especially if you have sensitivities in your skin or asthma, that you're not just getting fragranced oils, but like the real essential and natural oils. So it's tempting. Many people in my family swear by castor oil from Jamaica Avenue, but I,
Yes.
I don't know.
Boop, boop, boop. Yes, but I mean, I think that that's the thing, is it does come with, a lot of, there's not as much talk about like how to safely do these things,
Mhm.
and how is there a way to test, the oil to make sure it's safe for you? Because I know, Dr. Mikhail, you have some allergies to oils.
Yeah, that's what I've been talking about so much. I mean, I kind of do my own patch testing. So if I'm trying something new, any type of topical cream or oil, I'll try an area of my skin, put it a small amount on, and do it a couple times a day to make sure I don't get a local reaction or any itching. Because even from natural sources, we can still have allergy reactions. So to be really careful with that, and of course we're thinking about lupus, your skin is an area that can easily be inflamed, so we have to be careful about that.
Definitely. And I also wonder, if what's also helpful is that we, maybe there's a mindfulness component to it. So I know, there's all of these rumors about different scents and all of these different ideas about what these scents do. But I do know for me, like, I remember just the fact that I'm intentionally sitting down and trying to inhale something and
Mhm.
savor a scent. That, I think, it just made me intentionally take deeper breaths. And that's helpful
Mhm.
too. And I think that that's something else, that being mindful about the aromatherapy process. You're sitting down and you're like, and now that just calmed me down. That just helped.
Yeah.
Do I look more relaxed? I just took a deep breath.
You look more relaxed, you look good in your red, but I think that it's that ritual thing I was talking about earlier. What you're describing to me is meditation, taking a moment, really doing deep breathing, slowing down. I think that all goes into meditation.
Definitely, definitely. Well, speaking of peppermint, we're going to actually switch and talk a little bit about hair. The only reason why I switched directly there is I actually have another way that I get to enjoy some minty freshness on my body.
Uh,
And we're going to talk a little bit about hair because, with self care, if my hair is not feeling great or it's not looking great, it's a little harder to love on myself the way that I like to love on myself. So I know that there are a few products I get to share with you all, and I don't have these are not endorsements, these are not paid, these are just things that I've used. And I don't know if you have any, Dr. Michaela, but I got like a whole lineup. For those of you just joining in, this is your first episode. I usually don't have braids. I have a curly fro. It's about a little bit past my neck, but shrinkage is real. Um, but a lot of what I use, this is one, and it's by Taraji P. Henson. And
yeah.
this is called Master Cleanse. And this is a product I use, and it has like kind of a minty feeling to it. It's good for clarifying the scalp, and it just tingles, and it has these little prongs in there that you
Is this a
just shove it.
shampoo, Chanel?
Yeah, it's like a cleanse, so it doesn't foam up too much.
Mm-hmm.
But it literally, this is like the first thing I do, and I just shove it in there, and it gets all of and it smells like mint.
I know the hard thing is when you're switching up hairstyles, if your products change. So are you using that with your braids as well as with your curls?
Well, with my braids, if I have braids, I've used like this combination. This Cantu has this root ease that I usually use for my scalp, but
Mm-hmm.
this is something that kind of is similar to it. I could probably use this on it as well. But we'll see. I gotta figure out if it's staying in any longer.
I've been trying to keep up because every show you have a new style. So if you don't have braids next week, I'm done.
I'm gonna switch back up to the pro, but yeah, I think that these are that. I also use I'm on my black owned tip. My girl Tracy Ellis Ross, she's my best friend in my head. Um, I can't say the one thing out of her whole line that I really draw to was the heavy conditioner, because
Mm-hmm.
I know for if you have 4C hair or really thick curly hair or
Mm-hmm.
really tight curls, it usually gets really dry, and that deep conditioner is really helpful. So that's usually what I use. But if my hair is extremely dry, then I go to I guess the non black woman owned product line. I go to Olaplex, which is super popular now. I feel I saw
Yeah.
it. Have you used any of these products, or what do you use?
Well, Olaplex was recommended by my sister for like damage repair to use once in a while, but I also have some of the Tracy Ellis Ross products. I really like Shea Moisture products.
Okay.
What else? And I'm big into oils, just jojoba oil for my hair, or oregano oil, just
Mm.
putting some deep oil treatments.
Oh yeah, oregano has like antibacterial properties as far as I remember. Look
Mhm.
at me. I know a little something about homeopathic things. And I mean, I started doing paying a lot more attention to my hair. I think by the time I was diagnosed, that was the sign. I have a
Mhm.
poem about when my diagnosis, and I had all the symptoms. But what made me actually go to the doctor was losing my hair. And
Wow, that
that
was
was
like the final piece.
I was like, "Oh, I can limp everywhere. It's fine. It's hard to get out of bed, but my hair? Oh no." so so I think it was really, really challenging for me. And I had a relaxer at the time,
Mhm.
and that was what I thought. I was like, maybe I burned myself with the relaxer.
Mhm.
Maybe that's why I have like patches gone all over. I had patches in the middle gone, patches on the
Wow.
side gone. And the doctor, that's what he looked and saw
Mhm.
these patches and said, that doesn't look normal it doesn't look like a burn. And that
Thanks.
led to my diagnosis.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Chanel. It's so important because we're all really good at covering up what's happening in our hair if we have patches or we're losing hair or it's thinning. But it's actually a big part of the full exam to really make sure that we're not having an impact on the skin from lupus inflammation. So what did you do when that happened?
Well, I mean, I think for me, just kind of getting my lupus under control was really, really helpful, and it helped it grow back. So I started, medication for to
Mhm.
treat my lupus because, this is pre-diagnosed. This is pre-diagnosis, so all of my levels were everywhere as far
Mhm.
as ANA and my white blood cell count. All of those things were off the charts.
Mhm.
So getting those back in order, it actually helped heal my hair. But we have a question from the chat, Elisa. How do you, from a doctor's perspective, if you have a patient that has hair loss, what do you recommend they do in order to get
Mhm.
some of that hair back or get it all back?
Yeah, Chanel. So when we talk about active lupus symptoms, as we've mentioned before, skin inflammation can be a big part, and a skin inflammation in your scalp, especially. So when we're really thinking about treating inflammation, we're going back to some of the mainstay treatments that actually help prevent inflammation and prevent flare. So hydroxychloroquine has been shown to really help prevent inflammation, and it can actually improve hair thinning or hair loss once you've been on it and on a stable regimen of the medication. But that's just one of them. So, be a discussion with your rheumatologist about which anti-inflammatory would be the best choice. But we really think that it makes a difference. We see data that it makes a difference because if we can control that inflammation, it's really helpful.
Yeah, and no, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I think for me, I know you've seen me switch styles up on this show the last few weeks, but yeah, I think hair is something that, plays a role in how we feel, and a lot of times, and we, like I said, we talk about self-care, and for a lot of us that's our hair. So, I have had, and I guess I'm going to be a little vain right now. I've had a lot of different hair switches over the years,
Oh,
and
beautiful.
that's more recent. That's what my hair usually looks like, with a really, really good twist out. but
Beautiful.
but putting good products
How long
in.
has your hair been natural, Chanel?
I want to say about 7 years now, which is crazy because it feels like yesterday I cut it all off. I did the big
Mhm.
chop. I
Wow.
think there's another picture that I can show maybe of. Okay, so yeah, I did the relaxer thing, and there was a little
Mhm.
bit of color in there.
Mhm.
It was tapered, and oh my goodness, I can't look at this picture. It's so
When was
old.
that, Chanel?
That had to have been at least 10 years ago. I feel like I was a baby poet then. Um, but I had the relaxer for quite some time, and I think I got tired of it. But this is right before I did the big chop. Matt, can you go to the next photo? So that is the last time I had permed hair, relaxed hair,
Mhm.
and that was what led me to transition to my natural hair. That particular photo shoot that I did, my barber used to just line me up nicely, and he misunderstood what I told him and shaved the sides off, like completely.
Oh my gosh. That's a nightmare.
And you could change the slide, but that was what happened. And this is with me with a little piece, and I added a little extra hair to the front to make it a little fuller. And that
That's
was for
beautiful.
a campaign I did with Pandora around Black Music Month. But yeah, no, at the end of the day, I kind of said, I wonder what my own hair looks like. And I forgot what it was like. I'd had it relaxed for so long. And you can go to the next picture. If there's another, I think we might be done. but um, but yeah, I ended up going natural really just because I wanted to make sure that I was in control of my hair, and that my
Mhm.
hair was, you know, that I didn't have as much chemicals in it. And so, and I've read a lot of different things, and of course they're still doing studies around the connection between relaxers and
Mhm.
chemical straighteners, and the way it affects and sits in the body. But I was like, let me just fall in love with what I got in my head. This is how it grew, this is how it came out, and I'm gonna love on it. And so that's my lupus hair story. I've been natural ever since, and I cannot imagine a world where my hair is relaxed. But shout out to all of my sisters that do whatever you do with your hair, as long as you are taking care of yourself. I think it's
Mhm.
all good and gravy.
You have so many great points. I mean, I think it's a huge part of self care, but I think also a huge part of expression. As you mentioned, that was the thing that pushed you over the edge and said, hey, I have to figure out what's going on. So I think not being shy to bring that up with your healthcare provider if you're noticing thinning spots, if you're noticing patches, because as I said, it can be a real window into what's happening more systemically.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, I know I have some products that are here. Um, what's the difference between these things that I have right here and the ones that doctors might prescribe?
Really good question. I think when I mentioned talking about controlling inflammation, a lot of the treatments we use in autoimmune disease and lupus work to prevent inflammation from even starting. So, really trying to stop inflammation before it starts. Where a lot of the topical products we use can help control the inflammation that's already there. But sometimes once it's there, it's already done a lot of damage. So, really preventing it and then using treatments that help your scalp stay healthy and clean and moisturized help out, but they don't really stop the inflammation.
Well, that's so helpful to know, and being able to know which doctor you'd go to a dermatologist, right? For hair situations, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially with lupus, I work a lot with dermatologists because they're the ones who really will help you navigate what topicals, and when I say topicals, like creams and ointments that you need for your scalp or your skin to really control inflammation well on your skin.
Well, we talked a lot about, thank you so much. And we talked a lot about like alternative remedies. But if anyone out there wants to learn more about the different ones that are out there that manage stress and how to use them safely, you can go to the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health. They conduct and support research, and they also provide information about complementary health products and practices. So you can check out their website below, www.nccih.nih.gov. So there's so much good information on there. And, we're talking about stress. We're talking about, ways to release stress through these products. But let's get to the heart of some of this stress. And we're going to bring in Serena Polinier, the therapy chick. Welcome back. We're having her here, our fellow lupus warrior. And we're excited to have you back here talking a little bit about stress. Now, can you please help us out? Tell us the difference between good and bad stress and how we can recognize the difference.
Sure. Thank you guys so much for having me back. I really appreciate it. I love that there's this forum to talk about some of these things. And when we talk about good and bad stress, so there's two different ways to understand stress, but let's just kind of break down what stress is. So stress is a natural response to something that is obviously uncomfortable in your life. And when we talk about good and bad stress, there's two different things. There's, let's say you're preparing for a project, or you have an exam, or you are nervous about maybe meeting someone for the first time. Those are all really positive ways to look at stress because it's your body preparing for something, it's your body getting ready for something. You are kind of experiencing something that is unknown, so you don't know what's going to happen. But it's a temporary stress because once those things happen, then you move past it and you're either enjoying the event or the moment or whatever is going on. And then you have bad stress. And bad stress is what we call chronic stress, something that is prolonged, something that continues to happen. So let's say you finish that project and then you feel that sigh of relief, but then you get another project. Or let's say you finish that exam and then now you're moving on to college or you're prepping for college. And so it's just this continuation, just this a cyclical cycle of just having more and more stress compounded onto your body, and your body isn't getting enough time or breaks to just feel that relief, if that makes sense.
No, definitely. And I mean, I think we talk about stress. I've heard a lot of conversation around cortisol and having too much or having too little. What is cortisol and how does it play a role in stress?
Sure. So, excuse me, cortisol. Cortisol is the natural hormone that your body produces when you start to have stress. But the problem is that if you're in prolonged amounts of stress, again, like we were talking about, if you're going from one project to another and you're not catching that break, or you're, having those exams, or let's say you're in a stressful relationship, we're talking about Valentine's Day,
Um,
but let's say that, Valentine isn't so kind and kind of gives you a lot of stress from day to day, and it doesn't really necessarily give you a break. That hormone is constantly being produced in your body. So then you're going to start to see things like weight changes. You're going to start to see all kinds of different changes in your body that, especially if you're not getting enough physical activity, can be very detrimental to your health.
Wow. So, Sarita, you're the author of an article, The Effects of Stress on Women's Health, and you're also a marriage and family therapist. So, what do you tell people around nutrition and sleep and physical activity when you're talking about stress?
Sure. So there's lots of things that I direct people to do. The first thing is to kind of analyze your life, right? And analyze where that stress is coming from. Because if you don't understand the pinpoint of that stress, then there's nowhere to start, you know? So really narrow down where your stress is coming from, really understand what's going on in your life. If that stress is coming from a relationship, then start to seek ways where, you know, you can mitigate that stress and maybe I see
Like, cut him out, cut him.
you know,
on Valentine's Day.
yeah, exactly. If that's what it takes, then you know that's what it takes. But sometimes you know, just speaking with another therapist so that you can do something like you know, marriage and family therapy. Or if you are having, you know, things like projects, you know, kind of speak to your bosses, speak to people who are, you know, in positions of power who are giving you these things. Say, hey, you know, maybe can we just kind of give this project to somebody else so that I can kind of catch my breath. And also just making sure that you're just managing your timelines, understanding what your sleep cycles are, if your sleep cycle has changed, if it's different. You
Can
know,
I pause you there? Can you tell us more about that? What do you mean by your sleep cycle changing?
Sure, sleep cycles. So everyone has like, you know, a sleep cycle, you know, circadian rhythms, all kinds of things, like different names to it. When you start to notice that your sleep cycle is changing, so let's say typically you get 8 hours of sleep a day, or you get 6 hours of sleep, and now you're starting to get 2 to 3 hours of sleep and you're not falling back asleep. Chanel, I heard you say something about how you weren't sleeping earlier. These are the things that we talk about when we say changes in your sleep cycle. So you don't necessarily want to keep going on with a changed sleep cycle, because if you're not getting enough rest, if you're not getting enough sleep, then your body starts to deteriorate. And like Dr. Bayard had said earlier, you start experiencing things like brain fog. You start experiencing things like low energy. You're groggy. You're, you know, kind of temperamental. So you definitely want to make sure that you are minding your sleep cycle. There's lots of different apps to do that. Just be mindful of how much sleep you're getting, and if you're not getting enough sleep, make sure to address it right away.
I mean, and that's so helpful. Because I think we don't think about the sleep pattern. Sometimes it's like I'm just tired. And just for the record, I have my ways. And I think one of the ways we're gonna get into to help me calm down and wind down when it's time for me to relax and go to bed. And we have another set of guests that are here, Christine and Aaron Walden. They are holistic wellness advocates, and they are the founders of Soul Stir. Put some soul inside of your tea. Soul Stir. They're a tea health and wellness company, and they've combined their love for tea and their passion for their passion for this work to help relieve stress holistically. So welcome. So glad to have you both here, Christina and Aaron.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So I believe it says you are a tea lover, holistic wellness advocate. What exactly is that? That's a really beautiful and eloquent title.
So let's start with the tea lover part because that's easy. So tea was such a part of our lives growing up. We call it like our beloved family beverage. It was so much a part of our story and so much a part of how we connected with family and with community and connect with ourselves. That kind of came later. But we just have had such a great love for tea all throughout our lives. It was always there. And as we got older and in our professional lives, it became so much a part of our practice of how we cared for ourselves. So we're talking about self-care on Valentine's Day. That self-love is really, really important. And too often we neglect or don't give enough attention to really pouring into ourselves, pouring as in tea, pouring into ourselves. So that's the tea lover part. We love tea. We're foodies too. So food and beverage is just like our thing as well. But we are holistic wellness advocates as well as tea artisans and tea ritualists. So
what that looks like, if you don't mind me chiming in. And I think it kind of touches on everything that you all taught thus far. but both Christine and I, we originally come from the human service fields as far as our background. And so after many years with working with vulnerable populations, not only was the self-care and drinking tea important for us, but it was stuff that we would share with other people as well. And then the holistic part was, hey, we're going to recommend therapy. We're going to recommend and try to refer you to doctors if this person has physical ailments, if the person has mental health ailments. So to us, holistic, as Dr. Michaela described earlier, it's like every part, and not only just in those teams, whether it's, talking to a herbalist and then talking to a doctor about it. It's also your whole system. So your mind, body, and spirit.
Mm.
So that's why we consider ourselves advocates for holistic health as well.
Absolutely. And so we are artisans, so we actually craft the tea blends ourselves. We're really big into naturopathic medicine and practices, as well as conventional as well. So we talk a lot about combined therapies and how can we really care for ourselves holistically. And sometimes that means you need to go to the doctor and you may need a prescription for something, or it could be something that you can go to, your cupboard, and it's something that's in your cupboard, an herb like sage, for instance, or cinnamon, or something like that, that is readily available to you that you can use to help to calm your body. It may help to ease, some symptoms and things that you may be experiencing. Um, and generally, just it might help to lift your mood or just kind of make you feel better. If even just for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we believe that those things really help to improve the overall quality of our health and the quality of our lives and well-being.
Well, we have some samples that we were lovingly given by our producer Renee from you all, and so excited. And I'm just curious if you could really quickly, I know we got a little bit of time left, but I'd love to like go over a few of the different ones and then maybe just some ideas on how they have been, considered helpful to others. I'm holding on to the one that Dr. Michaela brought up, the lavender mint. Yay.
I was hoping so we can discuss the two that you all have. So,
oh, yay.
I mean, I think everybody kind of chimed in on about lavender or whatever, but it's very relaxing flower. Not only in the sense of smelling it, through aromatherapy, but also the taste. And I think with our teas in particular, we use very high quality products. So it doesn't give you a perfumey taste, right? This is all natural stuff. So because of that, that balance with the mint can be very, very good with just relaxing you, helping to ease anxiety, helping with headaches, just, full body type of things. It just really is a healing blend.
Absolutely.
I'm tasting the lavender mint now, and as I said earlier, usually sometimes peppermint comes out strong for me, but this was, really subtle.
Thank you.
And it has the spearmint in it as well. So for a lot of people that are turned off by the strength of peppermint, spearmint tends to be a lot milder. And so incorporating those two together makes it a lot easier or palatable for some people.
Oh, wow, I did not know that. Well, so I know we have Sunday Stroll Green. That's my own right here.
Yeah.
But we have, can I list all of the ones and maybe just we have Rose Amber, we have Sweet Mahogany Roast, and we have Woman's Wellness. I actually want to jump into the Woman's Wellness. Like how is that helpful? I think or what are the properties that are discussed around that tea?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking about that one. Especially because we're women, we're all women
Right.
here, and a big audience that we serve is women. And we know that for women, we experience high levels of stress sometimes, just in natural life, because we're taking care of so many people. And often, unfortunately, we're neglecting ourselves or we're putting ourselves on the back burner. So we need things that can really help us to prioritize our own wellness. So this women's wellness tea has wonderful properties. It has raspberry leaf, which is thought to be a uterine tonic. So this one is really good for womb health and healing. So any women that are experiencing, we say that this tea is really for like the different cycles of life. So we have some young adolescents that use this tea for cramping. We have older women in different stage of life that are using this tea for hot flashes. So it has those very healthful properties. It has oat straw, which is very relaxing, and it has like sort of kind of creamy frothiness to it, which is enjoyable to the palate, but also very, very relaxing. Ginger, which is a powerful anti-inflammatory. So we talked a lot about inflammation and how that can show up as pain in the joints or stiffness, etc. So ginger is really great for that, as well as a digestive aid. So a lot of the women has lavender as well. We already talked about the lavender, but for a lot of women that use this tea, we've heard, we've gotten lots of praise reports. Obviously, we use the tea ourselves as well. But this is really great for bloating, water retention, just the general symptoms that you might experience, say during
Around the cycle.
exactly, yeah, when you're menstruating, absolutely.
Well, we also have just really quickly, because we only have a few more minutes left, but I want to get through these teas. We have a rose amber. I
Yeah.
mean, other than being really pretty, because it just looks so pretty. It's like all these little leaves and there's pink and things in there. But how's that helpful or considered helpful
So
for some?
I'll kick it off a little bit. So Rose Amber actually was created a part of our goddess tea line. And so it is with women in mind, but we also have a lot of men who also drink it and they love it just the same. We always say with our teas, it was really important that we pulled out these properties that could be have its medicinal benefits to it, but it first starts with it tasting good because there I studied herbs for many years. We use herbs on a regular basis, but if you take a powdered down herb, oftentimes it doesn't taste great. So with the rose amber tea, we feel like it's one of the better blends in terms of not only the medicinal benefits that it provides, but also in its flavor profile. Um, and I just want to use this word earlier because the doctor said it. Valentine's is supposed to be about romance, but the first romance starts with yourself and through self care. And so, yeah,
Period.
it's important. We kind of like get into these teas and yeah, you want to.
I do want to make another note since it is Valentine's Day. So this tea, obviously, it has beautiful rose petals in it. It makes I don't know if y'all can see it, but a pink kind of color, which is really pretty as well. But you can bathe in this tea as well.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
So we're not going to be taking baths later.
Pour it all in.
This will make you take baths more, right? If you're a shower person, this will kind of get you into taking baths. But you can bathe in this tea, and the rose petals and other ingredients are actually really good skin conditioners and skin brighteners. So I know that some of the symptoms that lupus warriors may experience are different rash and things like that sometimes. So of course, you need to speak with your doctor and see if there's any allergic allergies or sensitivities to using it topically, but it's a great bath and it's beautiful. So you can steep the tea and then put it in your bath. You can add some more of the actual loose leaves in there, and it's really great. And
that sounds awesome. That's sexy time right there. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, I didn't know I could just drink tea and I can bathe in it too. And we had Sarita. Thank you so much, Sarita, for being on here, for sharing about the stress that we have to manage. We have to learn how to manage it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you all for having us, and we hope you enjoy your teas.
We will.
Do you mind if we plug ourselves?
Oh yes, definitely. We'll make sure everybody follows and checks out Soul Stir Tea Wellness. You can definitely check them out. Their Instagram handle is right there, but you can also go to, what's the website really quickly?
KiwiTeas.com.
Or you can reach it at soulstirteawell.com. Either one. Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
And Sarita, definitely make sure we follow her at the Therapy Chick at Therapy Chick on Instagram and learn more about just wellness and mental health and on your whole journey, because your Instagram page is fabulous.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, everyone. I really enjoyed those teas again. That lavender mint is amazing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
And
So this has been a fun show. We want everyone to remember to look for us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Keep posting your comments, reach out and share. Chanel and I both want to thank Biogen and remind you, if you're interested in additional information on lupus and clinical trials, to go to the Biogen link below, so biogentriallink.com. And of course, we're going to end with Chanel. Tell us, what's the title of your spoken word tonight?
oh, well, I'm going to get into my spoken word, but I have to give a shout out to Patsy Graham Walton, who just said she's relaxed just listening about the description of the tea. So I know we got somebody else getting on there. But my poem tonight is actually about just taking care of yourself. So it's about self-care to my ladies.
Beautiful.
Shout out to the ladies who aren't afraid to take themselves out, to treat themselves nice, look at the menu and tell themselves, baby, get whatever you like. Women who don't fear the single life, whose world doesn't revolve around finding ways to become someone's wife, who can go to an event with no eligible bachelors in sight and still have a good time. This is for the ladies who don't mind that myofascial trigger point foam roll life. Self-massage might be all you've got. Who run a bubble bath just because, who rub themselves down with scented oils because they love how it smells. This is for ladies who don't wait to see a movie, who enjoy nature sipping her tea, aren't afraid to go dolo, savor a glass of wine solo. Shout out to the ladies who watch what they eat. Some days, and on other days, throw down on a combo, treat themselves to dessert. Shout out to those who put out fires and blow bubbles amidst tornadoes. I tell you, love yourself for the amazing things you do. Date yourself because you deserve to be treated like you're special, not just when you have a boo. Learn how to appreciate the power in solitude. And if someone asks you why you aren't married yet and try to assume something's wrong with you, let them know it's not easy finding someone who can wine and dine you, who can truly love you the way that you do. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And one other thing, please make sure you check out, we are doing a educational seminar here in New York City at McBurney YMCA on Wednesday, February 22nd from 6:30 to 8 p.m. You can learn about managing lupus and meet us, myself and Dr. Michaela. And there's going to be a light dinner. And you get to register now. So you can go online at lupus_NYC_seminar eventbrite.com. You can also visit the Better Together website to learn more. But hopefully see you, check us out, and have a wonderful night.
Chanel, this was just such a great show. I'm excited about our show next week, our in-person event next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about, can I still work after my lupus diagnosis? And I feel like after the energy from this week, it's going to be a really fun show.
Definitely. So you got two opportunities to see us if you're here in New York City at McBurney YMCA at 6:30 on Wednesday. But on Tuesday, we're going to be talking about work and lupus. That's beautiful. Have a wonderful night, y'all. Take care.
Night.